Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. What is it?
Breaking news, Joe.
Breaking news is what it is.
It's interrupted our drinking. It's that good.
That's how good it is. On Saturday night.
So who we signed?
No, we haven't signed anyone.
Bastard.
We've signed an interview from Richard Arnold.
Well,
a sort of impromptu
interview. I don't know if I'd call that an interview.
No, that's
fair play, though.
Conversation.
Absolutely fair play. So, from what I can gather, because it's Twitter, so it could be made up, it looks like there's half a dozen United fans or so. Looked like they were going to go and protest outside Richard Arnold's house. And I'll give him some fucking serious credit for this. He's like, how about you don't fucking protest out my house and we go to the pub?
Yeah. Not a bad change of pace, that, is it?
No. And then he's been like kind of secretly recorded saying some stuff.
Yeah.
Which on one hand is a bit snide. On the other hand, we know now, at least from the horse's mouth, some certain stuff.
And also, in fairness to him, from the stuff that was recorded, I don't think he's not put his foot in it too much, has he? Some of the stuff he's saying is what a lot of fans think already. It's there's mention that some of it's a slight sort of PR angle, but a lot of what he's saying is what United fans think. And he's the CEO of Man United.
A CEO's always going to have to paint the sort of PR kind of picture.
Yeah.
But I don't say I'm happy with what I've heard, but I'm not unhappy with what I've heard.
And exactly. And even just fundamentally, you look at the situation, as you've described it there, compare that to when people went to Ed Woodward's house. Now, obviously, we're further down the line in terms of people sort of how sick of him they were, but he, stayed inside, the son taking photos, and that's what's in the paper the next day. Whereas with this, we're seeing, that he's come out and he's speaking to people. Let's get a few quotes in there then, because obviously, what's he said, is the CEO of Manchester United. What has he been saying? He says, as a club, we're doing everything possible to get the deal done. This was talking about Jong or just deals generally. I've been up for days trying to get it done. The money's there, but the signings stand in our way, which I can't say. Now, presumably that might be Lewandowski going to Barcelona or, other things happening. And then people saying, just tell us, be honest, we've come out of our way to see it, which I like that because, obviously he's out there speaking to people. The key line for me that was the best line of all.
Yeah, they've been belt here, listen to this.
People asking him, what's going on with the deal? Is the money available, etc., etc.
And he's like, why can't you just get the deal done? And he goes, do you want me to buy players?
Yeah.
And he goes, do you want me to buy the players? And you kind of get when he goes, does that not ring a bell?
Yeah, exactly. Basically saying, Woodward did that, and look how shit that turned out. That is the one bit where you go, that's pretty good, to be fair.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, from what I can gather, like we've always said, the guy's got a clean slate until he's not.
Yeah.
But what I can gather from him, he's gone and got advice from this guy, from that guy, from this guy, from that guy, and then he is making the final decisions based on the expert advice that he's getting.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he seems to be doing, and this kind of backs it up, is he's gone, I don't talk about transfer stuff.
Yeah.
I got people in that do that, whether that's Murta or whoever. They're the people that are going to conduct the transfer stuff. And I can imagine if he's also saying that, and it's like there's also the undertone of, and if they don't, they're out the fucking door.
Yeah. Well, like everything we've heard from journalists from basically United themselves is that Murta is doing that job now. And which is good, obviously. Like you don't really want Richard Arnold is a money man. He's not a football man. John Murtaugh's got a background working for the FA.
We might be getting the producer back, though.
Why?
Well, let me just read this out to you. So the fan said, you need to sort of that joke of an admin embarrassing us on Twitter. And Richard Arnold said, well, they're going and a new team are taking over. Well, change is coming.
That's very interesting.
Back.
I'm not sure what's going on with that. I mean, obviously, he's not the admin, is he?
No, I don't even think he's on Twitter. I think he just does video filming. But it's a joke that we can make. And sometimes we make jokes.
Interesting, though, that they're not happy with the what's going on on social media or what's going on that way.
From the club's perspective, I understand that some things like you've got to constantly promote. But on the other hand, as a United fan, like someone did a great little Twitter thing the other day, and it's like City of like there's our Erling Haaland, and Liverpool are like there's our Darwin Núñez, and we're like Fred's got a new haircut.
Yeah, exactly. He also spoke about De Jong. He was asked about what's going on with De Jong. Can we have the money for him? He said money's not a consideration in who we want. It's the manager that wants him. This is the sort of the prelude to what we said before, that they've actually done the work on looking if he's a great player, and then he goes on to say, do you want me to buy the players? Doesn't that ring a bell? Which I like that. I like that he's clearly saying, the last.
Well, he's savvy and he's streetwise to the criticisms of his predecessor.
Yeah.
And like we just said, the differences couldn't be more stark. There was protests outside Ed Woodward's house, and there's some talk that he rang the Sun because Which self-respecting football fan, for starters, rings the Sun, and for two, rings a photographer from the Sun to capture everything the week after you've just hired a PR guy that used to work for the Sun?
Yeah, now...
Very, very suspect.
I'm not going to say
lines
in
there.
his defence here, but I'm not quite sure Woodward could have gone, do you want to go for a pint? I think it was past that point by the time people were at his house. This is, Richard Arnold's first year in the job.
A different guy and a different mentality.
Yeah.
I think having the bottle to go... I mean, because let's be honest, sometimes like half a dozen United fans turning up outside your house, that could probably be construed as very intimidating for a lot of people.
Definitely.
And him going, hey, let's just go down the pub and have a bev and have a chat then.
Already, that's better than we've seen from any of the sort of higher ups at Manchester United in the last 15
that he's
years.
just got from United fans there.
Yeah.
He's already in that sentence and that action. Already gone. I'm not the last guy.
No,
and that's actions.
That's great, and that's what United fans want to hear. Is it just more of the same? Is it just the status quo being continued? The other thing he says as well is about how I think he says we've burned through money. We've spent £1 billion quid.
Yeah, I did like
but you
that
go
line
down
as
to
well.
the training ground and you don't see that £1 billion.
Pretty sure that's a line from me, by the way.
Some of that was saying like the quality isn't good enough, but also as you've mentioned before, not just is the quality not good enough, but most of the money we've spent has then left the club.
Di Maria, Pogba, Lukaku, a lot of our massive money signings, they're not there no more.
No. Exactly.
And that's the problem is like you go, United spent £1 billion, but where is it?
Yeah.
It ain't here no
He
more.
plays for Juventus and Chelsea.
That's the thing. Liverpool have spent money. It's right there. It starts.
Yeah.
I mean, we've spent money. I mean, even if you looked at like some of the lads that have gone out on loan from Ahmad and Donny van der Beek, there's nearly 100, and Palestri, there's £100 million worth of signings, and Marshall. That didn't play for us.
Yeah.
So even just a small, relatively small amount of money and 100 million, not there playing football for United. And he's right. And that, for me, is the director of football's kind of role, is to make sure that you're maximising. When you are spending money, it's for the right reasons and the right players, and they're going to be around here for years to come. And he speaks about, he also touched on we need investors to be able to invest into the ground. That's annoying because we make far more than
I think
enough.
that was in reference to getting like a whole new stadium.
All right, maybe
spending £1 billion.
Which
So
makes
Tottenham
sense,
have got £1 billion mortgage, which is why it's like it's not a click of a finger to
we
get
can't
£1
do
billion
that because
quid.
we maxed out our credit rating on the fucking owners.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, there's a thread on Twitter talking about how he was. There's a bit of a sort of a PR angle, but I think he does deserve a bit of respect for the way he's handled it, if nothing else.
Yeah,
coming out, buying people around, which obviously he can afford, but
I didn't
the
expect
sentiment
that.
there.
I'm not sure these guys would have expected that went down. One, shout out to these guys for going down and doing that, but shout out to Richard Arnold too for actually for fronting it up.
Yeah,
because he could have easily just rang the police.
Oh yeah.
And been like, there's loads of fans outside my house.
Or he could have even rang the police and said, "I'm not in, but people are in and they're scared." He could have made it, saved himself and got them out there with the police if he wanted to, saying he's not in, whatever. He hasn't done that. Fair play to him.
There's a photo doing the rounds, by the way, where he's turned round and the guys just must have took a picture of him. And he's like, "Oh shit, was the flash on?"
Yeah, which is great. But yeah. Get your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen the video. If you haven't, check it out on Twitter. What do you think to this? What do you think to Richard Arnold speaking to the fans directly? This is the first sort of proper. It's not like I said, it's not really an interview, but the first kind of conversation we've seen from him with the fans.
I got nothing but respect for it.
Yeah, me too. Get your thoughts in the comments below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in a bit.